Welcome to another episode on our channel. Some time ago, a few episodes ago, I had gotten a Sub-Zero character from Mortal Kombat, the game Mortal Kombat. And in the main header, it had been advertised as a 1/6 scale figure. Just bright, bold letters, 1/6 scale. And then in the description, smaller font, I didn't see it earlier, but it said 1/6 scale and it said 10 inches. Well, 1/6 scale is not 10 inches, it's 12 inches. And so when I got it, I wasn't comparing it to another figure. It looked pretty darn good. I kind of figured it was too small. And sure enough, it was too small. It didn't fit with my figures. So even though I had opened it, Big Bad Toy Store took it back and gave me a refund for it. I have never had problems with them. They are top notch in terms of customer service, and basically everything I've gotten from them, the packaging has always been very good from them as well. So they're way up there in terms of being appreciated as a 1/6 scale distributor. But after that experience, I kind of thought any figure I get, which is perhaps labeled as 1/6 scale, might not even be 1/6 scale. This was a McFarlane figure, and it said 1/6 scale, but it wasn't 1/6 scale. So that made me gun shy in terms of wanting to purchase another figure from somebody else. Plus, when you're talking about 1/6 scale, sometimes the prices are out of this world. That caught my eye when it said 1/6 scale, and it was like $40, $50. And I went like, wow, scored. And then I didn't score. So then I thought, well, maybe I could just do something, a custom for myself that might come close. And I don't know if you'll love this figure or hate it, because it's an artistic expression of what I think Sub-Zero should look like, or what looks good to me. When I think of Sub-Zero temperatures, I think of cold and I think of white. So I put him in white pants, and a lot of white or off-white, whatever you want to call it, but some blue too. And he doesn't have the mask. So it's clearly a custom piece that represents something that I like to look at. And I like what I've created here. And you may hate it because it doesn't quite look like the figure that you see in the game. And I can understand that completely. It doesn't have the mask or anything like that. But to me, it got close enough. And I thought this would work for me. So this is my version of Sub-Zero, right or wrong. And hopefully, maybe it just touches you as perhaps something that could represent some Sub-Zero out there. So there are different, at least two Sub-Zeros out there by Han and Kai Liang, or I don't know how to pronounce the first name, but they go by the general name of Sub-Zero. They're brothers, and this would represent just Sub-Zero in general, maybe not one of the specific brothers. But what we'll do now is pause and get some close-ups from the bottom of the stand to the top of the head, and talk a little bit more about Mortal Kombat or Sub-Zero. We'll be right back. So his shoes and his leg wraps are two separate pieces, and they're off-white. As we move up, you can see his white pants and his blue outer garment. I do have an off-white sash around his midsection. And then you'll see the wrappings around his arms or his elbows. You'll see the lower arm guards off-white and the hands that are off-white, black shirt, and this particular head sculpt. So we'll pause now and do some side-to-side shots. So technically, everything white or off-white should be black for Sub-Zero. But when I got these pieces, I was thinking cold winter white. I could change the color, but now that I have everything on, I kind of fancy the look that I've created. So it's not authentic, but to me it's pleasing to the eye. So you can see some of the strapping on his lower arm guards, I should say. Yeah. So, yeah, we can pause now and get some tighter close-ups of the face. So here he is in terms of the head sculpt. And I really like this head sculpt, so this is the one I went with. And again, it's not authentic to the game, but to me, it's aesthetically pleasing, the whole figure, and I just thought this is the look I wanted to go with. So the video game Mortal Kombat was created in 1992. It is a fighting, quite aggressive or violent martial arts game where people fight for territory. You have your own realm or territory that you control, and if you beat another character, you can assume control of their realm. So it's that basically let's fight, conquer, and seize territory game. When I tried to look up how many characters are involved in Sub-Zero, it implied that's kind of elusive, but at least 100 characters or more. There have been 30 editions of the game, at least 30 editions of the game that have been created over the course of time since 1992. And Sub-Zero it represents two brothers, Bai Han and Kuai Liang. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those two names right, but represents those two characters. Now, he is not true to the character as seen in the game. The facial features aren't a good match, but I thought this was a great head sculpt to use. He does wear blue, but it's blue and black. And I could change the color scheme here, but when I thought of the construct of Sub-Zero, I thought of frigid, cold temperatures, and the thing that comes to my mind when I think of that is white, actually. So I wanted to put him in white, and so I did. And it's grown on me in a favorable sort of way. So I could go authentic, change it to black, but I'm really partial to the white now. So I used a lot of artistic freedom here in terms of creating this custom, but I'm happy with the outcome, and I just can't bring myself to change it and go with a more authentic look. He doesn't have the mask, of course. Apparently Sub-Zero can throw ice balls or ice projectiles at enemies, and I don't have that option here. But apparently that's something he can do. So the other thing is that at times he's been looked at as being an antagonist and other times a protagonist. So I guess it depends on what edition you have in terms of the game. But I think for the most part, he's probably looked at as a good guy versus a bad guy. I'm in the process of getting Katana, so it'll be interesting to see her next to him when I do get her. She will be a statue, a 3D resin item. So anyway, here he is in whites, off-whites, and dark blue. And this is what I'm going to stick with for now. Here's one last look at my Sub-Zero custom, taken or created with a lot of artistic freedom. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.